In 17th century, some European philosophers had debated about how human understanding is possible. There are three kinds of challenges each philosopher can take place. One is rationalism, next is empiricism, and synthetic approach of both. The main doctrine is differed by the position that rationalist maintains that the rationality is foundation of knowing, and in contrast, empiricist maintains that the foundation of knowing is by experience, and so on. As we have intuition for it, both dimensions of knowing are important schemata for human understanding. The reason why we split the two dimensions is that we can have much more clearshot understanding of conceptual schemata, so is tradition of the two positions were maintained split and debated. Those philosophers, namely the 17th century empiricists, had maintained that human understanding is possible by experience, with a particular emphasis on the significance of acquisition of human understanding. In intuition, we have five senses to perceive things before making cognization of things. Experience of having sensations begins with the sensation before anything is cognized significant. We also have restriction to know them if sensation is not continued, and not only perception. Concretely speaking, we can really know what is not experienced by us. People experienced in their life can we know before having actual experiences of acquainting with them? This kind of evaluating experience more than this is one version of motivation why 17th century empiricists stood for the holding experience is important foundation we can have the knowledges. George Berkeley was one of the scholars supporting this view. However, in philosophy, it is more popular convention that he is extremity, a form of empiricist who was subjective idealism, known that Berkeley's doctrine has danger of falling into anti-realism, for example, a notorious fallacy to make belief material things are things unexist because it is dependent of our perception. The truth is possible because it is true that trees, streets, and home exist really and actually when our perception stops perceiving it or not. In my opinion, Berkeley's view could be plausible even though there is tradition to make him as subjective idealist, because we can utilize his doctrine this way. When we blame innocent man, we have some sensation to the man. Blame exists only by when we hold the sensation and continue to perceive it. And when we stop the sensation, such thing as blame cannot exist unperceived, as Armstrong's term, does not exist unperceived, is applied in this way. However, it seems to be true that his theory is maintained into the extreme. Then the foundation of agreement or sharing same sensation we know is not certain dimension because Berkeley's account of dealing with general term is not plausible. It is held and challengeable thing often to be homework from beginning course of epistemology. This is also an issue that we can have chance to think further, because his critic to Lockean general term is not blaming it, just for developing the way we have to talk further. In short, Berkeley is classified as subjective idealist while Locke is the most successful empiricist is drawn by this delineation, general terms agreement because Locke is developed his view with agreeable foundation such as general terms have been possible, Berkeley is not. This is topic we need to deal with more, detailed argumentation differed by opinions. This book written by Korean philosophy professor Thim Jun, entitled Ungul Thumomnon Erngu discusses about these topics. The discussion begins with Descartes' opening of this topic and motivation from his times, opening for the discussion of rationalism and empiricism in human understanding. In overall, the book's author has critical viewpoint on empiricism and research for the problems that are followed by whether or not an experiential foundation is to be foundation of knowing. He views it critical mind, talking about empiricism and its influences in human understanding in general. He seems to maintain rationalism is more plausible, with a definite Korean language description, so it is also helpful reading material to learn otherwise too, and very rare research book in Korean philosophy world. If you have acquainted with regard to the 17th century epistemological discussion topics, this book could be reference for well knowing about how Korean philosophers talk about this issue. The historical, philosophical opinions are filled with the book, very inspirational book. I recommend it too.